Hello again. Welcome to Jamaica 411. Thank you always for joining me, keeping my company as usual. Won't keep you long this time, I promise. Just to bring you a little bit of tidbits. I don't know if you have all been following the news, but the local government election is on in earnest. The vote will be next week, Monday, the 26th of February, 2024. Now, this has been a long awaited, well overdue election, local government election. The last time we had a local government election here in Jamaica was in November of 2016, and the government has seen it fit to delay it, not necessarily in our view, but perhaps necessary in theirs. Now, will it turn out to be a colossal mistake not to have that election in 2020 when it was due, November 2020? Remember, the government had an election, the general election, September 3, 2020. And for some reason, I guess because of the fallout with the COVID and the spread of the disease and the blaming of the government by the citizenry, they decided to delay the local government election. Having delayed the local government election the following year, seemed as if the Prime Minister was going to call the election. He turned up at his conference with a big bell and his clerk shoes, and it was Bobby Montague who was the chairman. He told the Labour Rights that the party was not ready for any election, so no election can be held. So that was that. The following year, in 2022, at their conference, Bobby Montague again announced this time that the JLP was ready. The machinery is in place and all is ready. This is 2022, For some strange reason, the Prime Minister decided to delay and delay and delay until now his opponents, the People's National Party, appears to be a little bit more organized, at least on the surface, certainly displaying a bit of unity on the surface. But those inside the party know otherwise. But the Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, has lost a significant amount of popularity over that period of time. So now he finds himself in a little box of bricks. And he's now trying to keep the 8 councils that he now has and possibly win the other 6 from the People's National Party, which is still very disorganized. Now, in the course of all of what I'm telling you, the People's National Party with Mark Golding, he isn't more than in a box of bricks. He is in a pickle. Andrew Holness being very low in popularity, the people want a change. But every poll that was done has seen Mark Golding himself losing a lot of, he's certainly not gaining whatever it is the Labourites are losing. Since last year, February, the polls have been showing the PNP increasing in terms of the popular support. It was 28.8% in February 2023. By June, that went up to 30.2%. And then another poll was done in September, and the party fell to 29.5%. Some businessmen did a poll, never said which business. For some reason, some businessmen got involved, and they did a Don Anderson poll as well. And the PNP stocks fell to 25%. Now, this is the PNP going up and coming back down. The JLP steadily fell, and they went to 25%, went to 26.1%, and they dropped to 22%, while the PNP fell from the 30.2% to 25%. And when they asked the people who they were going to vote for in the local government election, The 23% said the JLP, 22% said the PNP. So that's the lay of the land. Now, here is a campaign on in earnest. And the Jamaica Labour Party is out telling the people what good things they have done and what good things they intend to do. But what is a very curious thing is the way in which Mark Golding is conducting this campaign. He has spent the better part of almost every meeting that he has and giving every speech. I want you to go and listen to them. Go and listen to his speeches. He's talking about the opportunity to remove the Jamaica Labour Party government that the people are tired of. The Jamaica Labour Party government, as if this is a general election for Parliament. It is not. It is a general election for local government representatives. So he's on the trail talking about removing the government, talking about national issues, and he's not addressing the issues to do with local government. Why? Because Mark Golding, unfortunately, is not out there talking about local issues. He's out there, it appears to me, to be promoting himself. Yes, he's saying that the people must come out and give the PNP the vote. Come out and give the PNP the vote. But why should they come out and give the PNP the vote? What has he been telling the people that the PNP will do that would want them to come out and give them the vote in the local government election? And this, I believe, is missing. Now, here is Cliff Hughes with his own analysis, having heard something that Mark said about having a date with destiny. First, he said it was the PNP that had its date with destiny, and then it flew out of his mouth that he has a date with destiny come the 26th of February. Well, that is certainly true, because Mark is a new leader. He's an inexperienced leader. We were told the time when he was campaigning that he had no experience whatsoever leading anything in all his life. He has never led anything. So this is the first time he's leading anything. Remember, now he's an attorney at law. His job as an attorney is to give advice to his clients. And that's what he has done for the better part of his professional life. But to lead something that he has never done. So here he is leading a major political party, having cheated his way into the leadership of the party, right? And now he's faced with an election. He has been making a lot of mistakes. Some of the biggest mistakes would be the people that he's surrounding himself with. He's selecting the losers, which is part of the group of people that he and Peter Bunting formed within the People's National Party, calling themselves Rise United Movement. That's the group that he belongs to. They don't consider themselves PNP. They call themselves Risers. And so they have had the control of the leadership of the People's National Party. And they have spent the better part of almost 4 years attempting now to control the party itself, making it into whatever it is that they dream the Rise United movement to be. That is what they hope to implement in the People's National Party. And the membership is resisting. Now, they now find themselves facing an election because those in the party who knew what they did to undermine the party, to cause it to lose the election in 2020, and they were also behind the party losing the election in 2016, putting up challenges to 12 of the sitting members of parliament. A very ugly campaigning that was going on at that time. That was them. And they did it because they wanted the PNP to look divided. knowing that the people will not vote for a divided party. And they did all of that because Peter Bunting could not wait to become leader. He wanted it there and then. And so they were prepared to cause the party to lose the election, to put what you hear them now calling a wicked Labour right government in power. Then eventually they undermined Dr. Peter Phillips, caused the PNP to lose the election with underground sabotage on the day of election. The risers did. And now they're coming to tell comrades who now found out what they did, sitting in a WhatsApp leak group, planning the undermine of the party, planning how to make the party look divided. That's what they did. The comrades found out, the membership found out, and so the members are not prepared to work with them. So the leaders now, the MPs and the others are saying it is the way of the PNP to allow the leader to face his election. And so the election is finally here. They know that if they lose one council seat, their history, and I'm talking about Mark Golding and his group of risers, Peter Bunting, Mark Golding, their history. And they know this because I don't think we have ever seen a prime minister as doing as poorly in terms of the affections of people as this particular prime minister is doing. Never in history. Never in history of Jamaica have we seen where a prime minister is losing so much popularity, his party is losing so much support, and the opposition is even a worse state. Never in history. So we are all waiting patiently for February 26th. If the PNP wins the 6 that they now have, and the 6 council seats are Westmoreland, Hanover, Manchester, St. Catherine, St. Thomas, and the Portmore municipality, that's 6. And the JLP has the rest, which is 8. If the PNP should win one more, maybe they'll get a blight from the membership. That is Mark Golding and his crew. If they should lose even one, then Mark will be in jeopardy. They're not going to allow him to carry them into a general election. Why? Because with the Jamaica Labour Party being at its lowest, the PNP should not be losing seats. The PNP should be representing itself as a credible alternative to the government. And any loss of any of the council seats will be a clear indication of the rejection of the electorate of Mark Golding and the style of leadership that he brings. Now, Mark Golding ought to understand all of this. So I'm sure he's out there doing his best. But what exactly is he doing? Well, if you listen to all of the clips where he's going to St. Thomas and he's going to Portland and he's in St. Elizabeth, he's in St. Catherine, anywhere he is, just listen to those clips. You don't have to listen long. Just listen. And you will hear him talking about voting for the PNP, date with destiny, and he is also talking about the removal of the government. Now, that is not a campaign for the local government election. He is not telling the people what PNP candidates will do for them. What he's actually doing is out there campaigning for himself. He's campaigning on national issues. So what they're doing and what the campaign committee apparently has decided to do is to shore him up. Shore him up, perhaps because they already know what the outcome of next week's election will be. And so he's spending all his time not promoting the candidates for the local government, but promoting himself. And Cliff Hughes has his own theory. He is pointing something out to us about Lisa and Damien. Damien is also out helping the candidates. But let's listen to what Cliff Hughes has to say and his observation. And tell me, please, in the comments whether you agree with Cliff and his what he's insinuating. Now remember, while you're here, if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. And if you like the content, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. So let's listen to Cliff and what news he may have for us during this campaign. Let's listen.
A date with destiny, he says, for a local election, which will not alter who controls national government. A date with destiny, Mark Golding. He needs, but I suppose you can't control him when he's on the campaign trail, and speaking without notes. He will make these kinds of gaffes because he's an inexperienced national campaigner. Listen to this one.
Do not be distracted. Do not be intimidated. Do not sell anything that you're going to regret down the road. Because trust me, if you sell out the eggs and you sell out the People's National Party, you will regret it. Here in Portland today, I know that will not happen. I know that we are ready to do right by ourselves and our families and our future generations. And we are ready to cast our ballot for integrity, for development, for good governance, for a caring government that looks after the interests of the people. And it's only the People's National Party that can do those things. So comrades, my date with destiny is the 26th. We have common destiny, and our destiny is to deliver a beautiful Jamaica before God and man. And comrades, I say to you, do the right thing and make us deliver the victory.
My date with destiny is February 26. You sure you wanted to say that, Mr. Golding? I don't think so. You heard there Mr. Golding saying, listen, he has a date with destiny, and the PNP has a date with destiny come next week, Monday evening. Bear that in mind, because they won't tell you, but I will tell you. If Mr. Golding and the PNP do not win the local elections, if they come out with fewer seats than they went in, as in municipal corporations, okay? If they come out with fewer municipal corporations, then Mr. Golding is in political trouble. And that is why he uses the words, I have a date with destiny, because he knows, he hears the same thing I'm hearing, the whispers in the party, who is going to challenge him, or who may declare a challenge within hours of the results being known. He knows, he hears the same things we are hearing. He's also seeing the video of Lisa Hanna campaigning for individual candidates. She's not campaigning with him. Yeah, as you'll see in this video if you're on YouTube. Yes, she was in St. James, campaigning in St. James, and she posts the videos. And in this one in particular, She's seen jumping over a wall, quite athletic, and running. Yeah, and running to the PNP campaign crowd or gathering. Yeah, and she's making a point. She's not out there campaigning with the leader. Why? Why not? Yes? You think Mark Golding can jump over walls, sir? Eh? Oh, look at her. And she posts how she spends the time, the day in St. James campaigning for Andre Horton and others. Dr. Andre Horton and others. I said to a comrade last night, what is happening here? Is this a campaign for the future? And he said to me, you're damn right. Sure it is. Yes. Lisa is making a point. So when you hear Mark says, I'm pleads with the comrades, don't let me down. Don't let me down. He knows what he's up against. He has to come out of the elections next week, Monday night. Yeah? With more corporations than he is going in with. Because there's Lisa, there's Damien, the Rastaman, yeah? Two of whom are polling better than he is. So, the politics is in for a very interesting time. Very interesting time.
So do you agree with Cliff that the politics is in for a very interesting time? I rather think so myself. Let me know what you think. But just to add a little something to what Cliff said. Now, he said that Lisa was not out campaigning with the leader. And there may well have been good reasons for that. Because what I did not mention about these risers who are within the People's National Party is that part of their strategy for maintaining or gaining control over the PNP, they haven't got full control as yet. One of the strategies that they've been using is to get rid of all of the persons who have leadership ambitions and who may be a threat to Mark Golding continuing. Because as you can well imagine, if Mark Golding goes, so will all of them, all the losers that he has surrounding him. So part of the strategy was to ensure that those persons who harbor leadership ambitions, people like Philip Paulwell, Mikhail Phillips, Damian Crawford, Lisa Hanna, that they are frustrated and leave the party. Now, during the 2020 election, you remember that Bunting challenge for the leadership in 2019 and lost to Dr. Peter Phillips. They formed this WhatsApp group where they sought to strategize on how they can challenge for the leadership again in 2020. Part of the strategy was to make sure that Lisa Hanna lose the seat. So when Lisa received that 31 votes, having had her nearly over 3,000 majority disappear, it was due to an extraordinary amount of efforts led by the Golding and Bunting crew, Rise United, having meetings in Southeast St. Anne with the councillors, with other members of the PNP, planning how they're going to make Lisa lose the seat. And with the three councillors, they were able to hatch a plan, undermine her in every which way, and sabotage her on the day election, telling the PNP members, Choma, you don't need to go out and vote. Lisa win by 12 o'clock. And fortunately, she had some loyal people, loyal indoor agents that saw that the persons, they didn't have the numbers. at about 2 o'clock. And I understand they went and got some men in them ground, right? And brought them water boots and them muddy boots into the polling station. That was how she was able to manage. So Lisa Hanna, knowing all of this, as well as the membership, the people in Cessa, she's not going to be walking with Mark Golding, nor any risers. So the candidates that you see her out there supporting are the PNP candidates, the loyal, trusty PNP candidates. And she's not going to be walking with Mark Golding anywhere. And nobody can blame her. So I just needed to let you know that, so you can understand what exactly is happening when Cliff said she's not walking with the leader. You know, it's not something that is expected. Let me put it to you that way, that she will do any such thing. That kind of betrayal is just unforgivable. And I think you all know, many of you are Christians who are listening to me, that a traitor should never be trusted. And a traitor should never be rewarded. And on top of that, a traitor should never be supported. Again, have a wonderful day until I talk to you again. Walk good.